Hi Legionnaires, Steve Cox here with you from High Tech Legion. You know, every case tells a story, and I want to get over here and take a look at this one, the CL-86 HALCONES, and see what story it has to tell. Alright, once again, this is the HALCONES, a gaming series case, the CL-86 by CASECOM here. I kind of stole the every case tells a story right off there. This is just a line drawing of the case. You can see it's going to have a window on the side and things like that. I've already got the case out of this box, so let's get right into it. Here you can see the actual case. It's an all black case. Steel on the sides. Most of the frame is made of steel with a large plastic cap on the front and the top. You have a pretty nice window on the side here and a spot for a large 200mm fan, which is not included. It actually has a couple positions, so there may be like a 190 and a 200 different ones. Now the sides come off a little bit differently than other ones. They don't slide backward and then come off. They actually open kind of like a door on a hinge and then pull out. There's a lip here at the front that fits over an edge there. And so be aware of that when trying to take it off. If you try to slide it back, I actually messed up and got it hung on the corner here and had to finagle it pretty good. Comes with a standard set of, you know, hardware and everything, and of course a user's manual. The user's manual pretty much has an exploded view and covers all of the basic installation steps. But I want to point out something that confused me actually when I first got into the case. There are some optional components that seem to be listed like they should be here. There is a power supply cover and there is a bracket that runs. If you see the two screw holes here in the center and two more down here at the bottom, there's a bracket that runs there. It's a brace for long, extra long graphics cards. So both of those items are optional and could actually be a nice addition to this case, especially I think the power supply cover. The hardware, of course, pretty standard. A nice bundle of, I can dump them out here, a nice bundle of zip ties, and then of course a speaker, the little tweet speaker for error messages, and a set of screws and standoffs, and everything you're going to need for installing fans or anything else into this case. Pretty basic stuff, and they come in this nice little velvety felt-like bag with drawstrings. So that's kind of cool. You have a nice little bag for carrying around some extra stuff. Let's get right into the case. You can see inside the case you do have an exhaust fan. I'll turn it a little bit, and it is red. And that matches the rest of the case here. You can see the knobs for the quick release for the optical drive bays are all red, and now I can't get it back in there. I'll just set it here for now. And then all the hard drive bays are toolless, and those are also red plastic. This is actually neat little toolless design. It just snaps into the side just like a couple of screws and then is held in place once that is inserted in there. And it fits pretty snugly so that there won't be any unnecessary vibration or anything like that. And you can see you have quite a few hard drive bays there. That is 7 standard hard drive bays, and they do have of course screw positions to set it up for solid state drives, 2.5-inch drives. Get that back in there, and that's going to be all of those have that. There is a, turn it a little bit, you can see a large fan in the front. That is a clear plastic fan. It does have LED. Sure, it is a red LED visible from the front. As we turn it around to the front, The optical drive bays, there is 4 of them. Even though the entire front looks like it's tabs that will all be removed, only these top 4 actually have the little quick release snaps to be removed. The rest of them are just made to look that way, which is kind of neat. It gives it a uniform look across the front. The back side of the case is modeled to look very much like the other side, with the area that would be the window and then that large fan place here. But of course it is just a solid piece. This is where you're going to hide all of your cabling. And once again, it doesn't slide backwards. It pulls out like a hinged door and has that same lip with the edge there. So taking a look inside here, you can see once again you'll have all of your hard drive connections on this side, SATA cables running around here to meet your motherboard, things like that. Nice grommets for all of your wiring to come through from your power supply and feed up here to power your fans and power your 24-pin ATX, coming over here for your 8-pin or 4-pin for your CPU. And then you have actually a couple different slots here for different size motherboards, depending on which size motherboard you use. Of course, depends on where you're going to route some of your cabling. If you use a standard size ATX motherboard, and that's not the best way to do this, but a standard size ATX motherboard, you're going to just use these bottoms, and that'll also support a eATX motherboard. And then of course, if you're using the smaller MATX or MITX motherboards, then you'll be able to use these 2 grommet ports here for the USB front panel and the HD audio front panel and things like that. On the inside, the cable management is actually pretty well done. There's a lot of room. It's a fairly large case. You have all of your standard cabling coming from the top, from the fan control, from the hot swappable drive bay there, from the power switch, all of your USB 3.0 and 2.0, and that is all bundled here, ready to go. Get those out of there. Of course, the fan controllers require power through the Molex cable here, the 4-pin Molex, and then each one of the fans is labeled here. You can see it's got the little silver tabs, fan 1, fan 3, 4, and 2, and those will provide, again, not only for the fan speed control, but for the 4 buttons at the top. In the standard bunch of cables, you have just one little thing to point out. You have another 4-pin Molex here. I'm pretty sure, looking at the way the wire runs in, that provides power for the SATA up at the top for the hot swappable hard drive bay. So those basically go together, your SATA data cable and then your power for that. And then you have a pretty standard bunch of cables, your front I/O, your power switch and all things like that. Of course, the 19-pin USB 3.0, your HD audio, and then your USB 2.0. And of course, all these smaller ones which will connect to either quick connects, or you can connect directly to your motherboard for the power switch, reset switch, and the hard drive LEDs and things like that. Alright guys, moving around to the top. This is the top of the case. You have some ventilation here at the back, but I want to show this this port at the top here. You have the fan control knob, of course a power switch with an LED indicator, a reset switch with the hard drive LED indicator, 2 USB 3.0 slots, 2 USB 2.0 slots, a microphone and a headphone 3.5mm jack. Then you have the hot swappable hard drive bay. It is set up for both 2.5 inch like a solid state drive or a standard 3.5 inch.
hard drive, and it just snaps right in there and plugs in. I don't know if you can see the attachments in there, but you understand how it works.
Select each fan individually. You'll see it begins to flash, and I can control the speed of it. Red is all the way up, and as I turn it down, it'll turn a little more purplish, and then once it's down all the way, it turns blue. And that controls the fan speeds, across the board. And you can see that I've got that. So for example, if you listen to it right now, pretty normal sound for a few fans in a case, but these fans actually are much higher RPM and produce a lot more sound, the ones on that AIO, and you can really feel the air blowing out of there, so you know they're pushing a lot of air through, and that's with them turned all the way down. If I turn them up, oh, it stopped flashing. You can see, or you can hear rather, a pretty big difference, but you can see in the indicator LEDs the difference in the RPM, that it is maxed out at this point. And like I say, now you can really feel the air blowing out of there. I'll try to demonstrate. I know it's not real heavy or anything, but it's really pushing quite a bit of air through there, which is going to be great for for hot cases. But this is not a hot case, and so I'm going to start by testing it with all of the fans turned down to minimum, and then we'll go from there and crank them up to maximum and see what the difference in volume of sound and the difference in temperature is.
The ventilation I was talking about, there is a large fan under there. I will pull it out real fast, or pull the top off. And then you can see where you can put either a series. It's got smaller screw holes for 120 millimeter fans, the large position for the 200 millimeter fan, quite a few different options there, and even some possibility for some cable or hose routing. Moving along to the back side. Speaking of hose routing, you do have alongside the exhaust ports, you'll have 2 grommets down here below it and 3 larger ones across the top there for water cooling and hose routing. And then of course all of your expansion slots, another exhaust port here, and down below you can't see it, but the position for the power supply.
Hi guys, welcome back. So I just wrapped up the review for the CL-86 HALCONES from CASECOM, and while it's a decent enough case, it doesn't really do anything spectacularly. Probably the best feature of the case is the fan controller, but even that has some faults. Like I say, the connections on the back leave a pretty big bundle of cables that you have to contend with when doing cable management. The side panels don't really seem to fit incredibly well. I like the way they come off kind of like a hinge instead of sliding back and forth, but at the same time there are little metal tabs along the way that can get hung on each other and cause some trouble in removing them or in trying to place them back on the side and put the screws back in the holes. They don't exactly line up perfectly. Then you've got things like the large side panel window with it has a big fan slot for a 200 millimeter fan, but there's no fan there. I feel like if you're going to put a position for a fan like that instead of just a full window, then there should actually be a fan there to use. That should just be included. That way it matches the front fan. As it is, you have a red LED fan on the front, and then trying to match that same exact fan to put one on the side is going to be difficult, and maybe you don't want to match that same exact fan, but I think for the most part people would want to match it. They would want the same fan on both sides of the case. All in all, not a bad case, but again, it doesn't really do anything wonderful, and at the price point I think there is some really stiff competition out there. So I'm going to give the CL-86 HALCONES a silver award from High Tech Legion. And if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy our reviews,
please jump over on our forums at www.hightechlegion.com and follow us there. Get over on Facebook and give us a like on Facebook. And of course, for daily and weekly regular updates, follow us on Twitter. And thanks for watching. I'm Steve Cox with High Tech Legion, signing out.